NFTs coming everywhere.
Right.
The ecosystem just kind of exploding. So I think it's part of our way of spreading the knowledge among all the budding devs who are looking to either transition from other developer roles into gaming, or from just starting their career in the gaming ecosystem, because we feel that they should be aware about these kind of things as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. Good. Piyush, just give me a thumbs up or something if we are good to kick off. Just let me know.
Yep, we are all set. We are live on YouTube. I'm just checking if we are live on your LinkedIn as well. But yeah,
Perfect.
probably we're good to go live. All
Okay,
set.
perfect. Cool, guys. So awesome. Welcome, everybody. Thanks, Lingraj, for joining us today. We'll diving into a little bit about your background, a little bit about DeFi, blockchain, overall, a lot of learn about these kind of ecosystem pieces as well. So guys, if you guys have any questions regarding blockchain, regarding whatever we are discussing, just feel free to put them in the chat, and I'll try to moderate to whatever best I can. And yeah. Cool. So let's get started. Lingraj, why don't we just start with a little bit of a background?
Yeah, no problem.
How did you end up into, because I know you come from a development background.
Yeah, right.
How did you end up into the blockchain ecosystem? What has the journey been? If you can give us a brief overview.
Fine, no problem. So I'm into the software development space since 15 years, and I've started my career with a fintech company as an intern as Iris, that is in Mumbai. And after that, I joined investment banks to start with HSBC. And after that, moved to Bank of New York Mellon. Then I was deployed in Barclays Bank through Cognizant. So that was until 2017. And prior to that, in my corporate job, I was mostly involved in developing the distributed systems that is required for the intraday and end of day trading. And during the onset of 2017, I was looking for the job wherein I can work remotely. And it took me around 4 months to find a job. And fortunately, I got a job in a company, US-based company, and they were looking for the talents from all over the world. And I got a job there. But during that time, there was one term as blockchain that I came across. Yeah. And since I was on the job that I had was good, but I was looking for something more that could be very interesting. So blockchain was the term that I came across during that time. It was during the second quarter of 2017, and yeah, after that, Bitcoin. So that was the moment when I got to know about the blockchain. And there were not any tutorials available during that moment of time, or any materials that were available. Not that many materials were available to go through the tech specific things that one developer would need to know to have anything developed on top of blockchain. But yeah, still there were a few YouTube videos and whatever materials that I was able to get. And a good thing was that Ethereum has published their documentation in a very good way. So I went through all those, and I got to know about the kind of problem it can solve. And I was very fortunate enough to get a job with my first interview, because the competition was very low during that time. Supply was very low and demand was very high. So that was a Singapore-based company. For them, they were actually into medical tourism. So they just wanted to add one transparency layer. They just wanted to have a complementary layer of transparency into the system which they're already having. So I worked in that company for a few months. Then after that, I joined one blockchain company, German-based blockchain company. So they started with providing the interoperability of the blockchains. There are many blockchains, and by 2018. Okay, Ethereum, then Ethereum, Bitcoin were there, then Binance came, then EOS blockchain came, then Tejos came. So he was envisioning to have a blockchain platform wherein the users from one blockchain can communicate with, or other services from one blockchain could be used, or other blockchains could be used from another, from a kind of interoperability or intercommunication was something I got a chance to work in, and I was the first person to work in that company. And yeah, and during that moment of time, while working for the startups and creating this proof of concepts and all, writing the smart contracts on top of Ethereum. So I thought why couldn't I look for a kind of problem, that is prevailing out of cryptocurrencies. During that time, whatever problems the companies were solving, they were mostly solving about the cryptocurrencies, wherein people will be able to invest and they can have a return. But they were not actually solving the problem that could get something, a kind of real world asset, or wherein like something that is happening in the real world space that could be linked to the blockchain. Okay, though there were few POCs that were coming up, but no one was like got into that much of research or kind of development of bringing the real world assets to the DeFi space. So like I hope like you are aware of RB protocol or compound protocol. So these are the kind of protocol wherein these are the lending and borrowing protocol wherein one will be able to lend their cryptocurrencies and they can borrow another cryptocurrencies. Okay, so this is something like the people who are not regularly using cryptocurrencies, they won't be able to borrow loan or something, or whatever they are looking for to fulfill their funding requirement, they won't be able to do so. So what I thought, like so I have one of my friends, so he is also involved in the blockchain space, and so there were a few other friends as well. So all of us got together and started discussing about the things that could be solved. Okay, that would bring real world assets to the blockchain space. So like there were already few companies they have started during building a kind of protocol that would, wherein the people with for example a home or any kind of gold, they can bring in and they can take a loan. But they have started with the institutions, the SMEs or the micro small medium enterprises who are looking for the working capital, so they can have their capital requirement fulfilled through that. So so what we did, like we have built an initial drafted plan. Okay, and during that time what happened, like the Startup India has along with STPI, Software Technology Park of India, so they have started a competition wherein they were looking for the blockchain ideas that could solve the problems that India is having. Okay, so since we found out a use case related to MSMEs who are looking for the, like MSMEs, they find it very difficult to avail the working capital in a very timely manner and in a cost-effective way. And we have performed the primary market research by interviewing around 60 MSMEs across India, and we got to know that like they are facing a lot of issues. I mean, they end up paying larger interest rate even if they are able to get the finance from the banks or NBFCs. And they are, the problem is huge. More than 90% of the MSMEs are facing that problem. So, and it was the problem was basically to do with the kind of financial data that is available. So that is not, banks are trusting. Okay, like data is fragmented.
Banks are built on the old system, right? So they rely on data points that are not even relevant, and they're not looking at the new age data points that companies are producing today, right? So yeah. So was the thesis that, okay, we'll be able to build something where we can leverage this distributed sort of a ecosystem and then be able to provide like capital to small and medium enterprises through some kind of a blockchain technology power thing? Like, is that was kind of like the vision like, kind of shaking up?
Yeah, right, exactly. So, see, there are two products that are built. One is for the government of India, another is for the people who are holding cryptos. Okay, we want to bring that crypto liquidity to the companies who are in need of the fund. So we already started those transactions, but on a very like initial stage, it is not something that is available in the decentralized finance space. But on top of that, we have also built a system that is going to help the state governments who have brought in some schemes to fund the SMEs who are looking for the finance. Yeah. So basically, they are actually depending on the banks, and banks need reliable data. Okay, reliable data that could be verified in the real time. But since the data is fragmented, it's very difficult for them to, like reconcile the data and perform the underwriting and perform the credit risk analysis. So all those things are what blockchain can solve, because like all the parties will be having a single source of truth, and it can be verified in the real time. So that is something a few of the state governments are interested in, and they want to they want to do some pilot transactions with us, so that to check how exactly blockchain could help mitigate the issues which they are facing right now, how exactly it can reduce the cost, wherein the interest rate may not be that high that the MSMEs are paying right now. And other product that are built is about bringing the crypto liquidity to to fulfilling the capital requirement of the MSMEs, though it needs a specific regulatory and compliance setup to be in place. So that's why we are not doing it on a domestic level, rather in an international trade. So
Got it.
yeah, so in the cryptocurrency specific regulatory policies are a little bit of having leniency in the international trade. So that's why we have chosen that use case. Yeah. So probably in the Q2 of this year, we will be launching that lending pool wherein people will be able to lend their stable cryptocurrencies. There's access of capital in the blockchain space that that is looking to be deployed to earn some yield. So we are just trying to do that. Yeah.
So in this case, right, like anytime you're bringing a new technology to an existing sector where, you know, people, whether it's like the banks, whether it's the startups, whether it's the enterprises, right, they're used to doing things a certain way, right? Like they're used to doing things in an old way, right?
Yeah.
But then on the one side, you're introducing this new platform, you're introducing a new technology, right? So there is always a pushback, right, in some shape or form, right? People try to, and existing systems and organizations try to fight the system, right? So when you are introducing something so revolutionary and you know, open and transparent, that can completely change the game overall, right? This will happen no matter what. Like you look at VR devices coming in, people are like, well, who the hell wants to wear a, you know, a hat on their head all the time, right? Like a heavy hat.
Right. Yeah,
So,
exactly.
So it's sort of, that thesis is applicable across all industries wherever there is sort of advent of new technology, right? So how are you seeing adoption? Like on one side, we are talking about governments, right? Like literally, these are the slowest moving pieces in the world,
exactly.
right? Like they don't innovate, right?
Yeah.
They don't, their job is not to innovate. So how do you sort of, for a new product offering, right? Like it's the same thing that even gamers and game developers think about, right? Like if they're launching a new game, how do they make it so that people are easily able to adopt whatever they have introduced? So how do you sort of think about that in terms of taking a blockchain kind of a solution to an existing problem, such as capital, access to capital for industries and companies and startups and all, right?
Yeah, like right now they won't be adopting this technology in a very faster way. Okay, so it is gradually going to be happening sooner or later. I mean, like what they are doing some pilot projects, very small. Like in our case, for example, we are helping government of India to establish a system wherein they can finance the MSMEs through the schemes which they have started. So see, portfolio is very high. Huge amount of money is involved. So what exactly we are doing? We are just taking a very small part of the portfolio to do certain pilot projects. So that is something we need to convince the government agencies or the representative of the state governments. Okay, so we had fortunately we are part of STPI and they have stake in our company. So they are arranging the meetings with the government people. Okay, so that is something helped us. But on top of that, what we can do, there are many companies who are very much sorry, not companies, I mean the government departments who are very, very positive about blockchain, the kind of complementary layer of transparency it is bringing to the current system. For example, we had a meeting with or a talk show that was being arranged by SIDBI, and people from the finance department and RBI were also there. And I was very shocked to listen to them that they were telling about the decentralized finance, how exactly decentralized finance can solve the issues that is prevailing right now here in India. So what we can do, we need to approach those people. Okay, we need to know the right point of contact. Like where exactly, before that we need to perform some activity, we need to perform some research where exactly the problem could be solved and where exactly the solution is much needed. Okay, so we can approach those people, we can tell them this is the kind of problem that you have, and this is what we are providing, the kind of solution, and this is how the people or the stakeholders who are part of your entire workflow, they would be benefiting both from the cost, from the time. Okay. And transparency would be there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think
those are like the key parameters for any kind of a blockchain project itself,
right?
Making sure that the thing is transparent, open, and people can participate in the ecosystem, right?
Right. I mean, right now the problem is what I mean, more than 90% of the MSME enterprises are not able to get the finance.
Yeah,
it is just because the data is not transparent. Okay. And banks are not getting involved with this with the small or micro enterprises because like it's very costly for them. Okay. It takes a lot of time. So that's why they're not getting involved. They're going for the companies wherein they can perform all the credit risk in a very easier way. So so gradually this technology would help creating an entire ecosystem. Yeah,
I think it's all about margins, right? Like if you think about a bank trying to give a loan to 10,000 small individuals versus just one big entity like Reliance, where they're putting in like thousands of crores behind one entity. It's easy for them to manage that transaction, but still have a upper limit in terms of how much the bank can earn from that transaction, right? Versus trying to do that for like 10,000 individuals, it becomes, that's where I think the power of technology comes in fundamentally, right? Because as individuals, humans, the things that we can't scale, technology will help you kind of get to that scale, right? I want to jump back into the compound thing that you mentioned. So if you just want to quickly, in one line, just sort of for all audience, I know about it, but not everybody might know about it, because I think there is something interesting there to marry between the gaming ecosystem and how this works. And I'll throw the idea out once you just quickly explain what is compound and what are these kind of DeFi ecosystems.
Yeah. Okay. So compound is a kind of ecosystem wherein people will be able to lend a cryptocurrency and they can borrow another cryptocurrency. So what exactly people or the crypto native investors are doing, they are like putting Bitcoin or Ethereum as collateral and they are borrowing the stable cryptocurrencies. Okay. So stable cryptocurrencies are those cryptocurrencies. The price of those assets will always be stable and it is going to be pegged to a specific fiat currency, for example, $1. So that price will always going to be $1. Okay, irrespective of the market, wherever it goes. So what you can do, like you can in compound, what is happening, like in case I want $100 worth of stable cryptocurrencies, then I need to put $150 worth of Ethereum to compound. Okay. Yeah. So, and I can use that US dollar that I borrowed for anything. Like probably I can I can wait until the price of Ethereum goes up. In case it goes up, then what I can do, like I can buy more. Like during that moment of time when I borrowed the money, I could have there could have been a speculation that Ethereum price might go up. The moment I have borrowed the $100 worth of stable coin, I can buy that Ethereum, and once the price goes up, for example, it went up to $150, then I can pay back the $100 and I can get back my collateral that I put in as Ethereum. Then so I earned
so it's kind of like the classical lending and borrowing kind of an ecosystem that you guys can probably imagine in the finance world, right? Like somebody has money, they're lending it, and then somebody needs money, they're borrowing it, right? So there's a person who's putting money into the ecosystem and a person who's taking out, etc., right? So you can imagine that. So when we look at gaming, right, there are and this, I know that while your background is not gaming, but it's very intuitive to think about. Do you think there could be future systems where today we all know that there are games where people are playing games to earn currency and they're cashing out that currency as a means of livelihood? So the broader phenomena is play to earn, right? People and literally earning actual tokens and currencies that get then translated into stable currencies like USDT or will get translated into Ethereum, and people are cashing that out in Philippines and Southeast Asia to literally earn good livings on a monthly basis, right? So there's the whole phenomena of play to earn.
Okay.
Can you imagine a use case where I play a game today, right? I earn something in it, right? I can then take it onto a chain which has some kind of an interoperability available, like you mentioned in the very first use case, right?
Yeah.
And then put it into some compound kind of a system where there is lending and borrowing happening already. So now a gamer who would play a game and accrue in a traditional world, they would accrue currency that is only valuable in that game. But now they can take that currency out to the chain, interoperate it to another game, and then lend items inside that game that will give them like superpowers or magical things, right? Like do you see like games or generally broader technology products, right? Because we're talking about virtual items now, right? If virtual items give me superpowers in some shape or form, in a real world, I can imagine, right? Like if I have something on my account as a virtual item that gives me better interest rate or a lower interest rate in a real world, right? Same thing can happen. I can get better discounts inside Uber or Zomato or Swiggy if I have something in my in my blockchain wallet that says, oh, I own this exclusive thing, which means I have access to this something, right? So how do you see this sort of these kind of new use cases emerging, both in sort of like the virtual world versus the real world?
Yeah, I mean, like there are a lot of things that are coming up in the gaming space as well, as far as far as the blockchain is concerned. Okay, so I'm not that much involved in the blockchain, gaming space, but I could say that like people are going to the gaming space to play the game, and on top of that, they're earning as well. Okay, so whatever they have earned, as you said, they can move that fund to a protocol or a kind of an ecosystem wherein they can stake their fund and they can earn. So that is something happening. So there is just, I mean, not just Compound is what they can put their crypto earnings into, but there are many protocols. Compound is like, it's a very safe ecosystem, but the returns are very low. Okay, so so there are many systems that is coming up wherein you can put your like earn cryptos and you can, and that will grow. Okay, and good thing is that we are bringing the same protocol in the Q2 2022, wherein you can lend your cryptos and you can earn a stable return that is higher than what Compound and other RP kind of protocols are providing. And it is going to, you are going to put that your cryptocurrencies are going to be used for the people who are really in need of the funds. Okay, so it is not like the people who are just in case of Compound and RP, what is happening? They're borrowing the fund to trade, okay, to hedge, to trade. But we are doing something wherein the funds will be used for the real world use cases. Yeah. So same way, like there are many protocols that are available wherein you can lend and you can earn money. Yeah. So I think like probably any gaming use case can come up wherein they would be expecting the gamers to stake some fund. Okay, and probably that would give some more return apart from the earnings that which they would be getting by playing the games. So there are ample of use cases that can come. Yeah.
Do you want to quickly just one-liner explain what staking is? Because a lot of the audience might be new to that term as well. Yeah.
Okay. So staking is something to do with like depositing your fund. Okay. For example, we have savings account, right? We deposit our funds. So that's a kind of staking. Okay. You can withdraw anytime, but having the money deposited in our savings account, we get some interest rate from the bank. So it's same as what we can do in the blockchain space as well. So you're just depositing your money somewhere and it is just giving you some return.
So yeah, so I think it's you can think of it as saving, you can think of it as putting your validation behind something. So one interesting use cases that we are seeing across staking is, so imagine somebody wants their technology build or app build, and they go to Upwork and say, okay, my budget is $10,000 to get this particular product built, right? And now suddenly on the other side, freelancers and teams are applying to get access to this particular contract, right? So typically what ends up happening is like if anybody has worked on these freelance platforms like Upwork or something, right? If you have a reputation there, if you have like 5-star rating on the platform, naturally your chances of securing that contract gets higher, right? But when you're new to the ecosystem, it's very disadvantageous to you, right? So where we are seeing sort of these new use cases, and we are internally discussing how we should leverage these as well, because we have a lot of developers within the community. And when somebody comes in and they say, I want to get a game app made, right? Who would want to work on this? You'll probably get like, say 50 people saying, I want to work on this particular project, right? I want to do this as a freelance opportunity or something. But then how do you really evaluate who's going to be the right fit for this or not, right? But then if you take those 50 people who are applying, some of them are staking their coins to say, okay, I'm confident that based on the description of the application or the game that you're asking me to make, I'm confident that I'll stake 10,000 coins.
Yeah.
Another person says, I'm confident that I'll stake only 500 coins. Now you know who's feeling more confident that they can deliver the work that has been asked to do, right? It can be making an app, it can be some social media work, it could be anything, right? Technology, non-technology, doesn't matter. But the whole concept around the whole staking ecosystem means that you're putting your word behind it and saying that I'm confident I'll be able to deliver on the promise that I'm making here, right? So I think
like
I find that notion very exciting.
It's a kind of trust through consensus. That is what you can say. Like you're creating a trust. You are building a like you are creating a confidence amongst the player who are new to this ecosystem by staking. So that is something like you explained very well, Mayank.
I think I think of it in gaming use cases, like people are putting teams together for tournaments, right? Like Call of Duty tournaments where you need like X number of team members, or MOBA games where you have to play on 5v5 as teams. When you don't know other people who play the same thing, it becomes hard. But then suddenly you have like, okay, we are competing as a legendary team, and I want people who can stake 5,000 coins to join my team, right? So now you get certain quality of people by default, even though people don't have credentials. So like today, if I go and say I'm applying to a job on LinkedIn, I'll get ample applications easily. Why? Because I already have credibility on that platform, right? But when somebody new is coming in, it's very hard for them to build credibility. And that's why I love this concept, because then you can beat credibility so credibility builds over time, or you can build it by staking something equally important against time, right? So I can spend 10 years on LinkedIn building my credibility, or on Upwork, and I can stake 10,000 coins and be new to the platform and still get same amount of credibility. Because I'm willing to lose those 10,000 coins if I don't deliver on the promise that I made.
Correct.
So are you seeing these kind of use cases in like real world product scenarios as well?
Exactly. The platform that we have built, so the staking scenario is there because initially we would be having the institutional borrowers, who would be borrowing the stable coin, and they can convert that to fiat and they can deploy to the local market. So they can't directly borrow the fund. There has to be some staking coming from them, or few other institutions who would be creating like the same way, like who would be
they'll be staking on their behalf, basically.
Right, exactly. Exactly. In case something goes wrong, then there will be first loss. They are a kind of first loss provider, so that the actual investors or the cryptocurrency holders who are putting their stable cryptocurrencies to our protocol, so they will be compensated. So that is something would be coming from the companies or the stakers who are part of the who are actually related to institutional borrowers. So they are actually creating the a confidence amongst the USDC or the cryptocurrency holders that they have the skin in the game in case something goes wrong, or any in case any NPA or the default happens in the loan. So the staking money which they have kept in the pool will be slashed, and that will be compensated to the actual investor. So it is going to be happening for many use cases.
You might. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this new phenomena in the education industry called income share agreements, where like this is something that we support as well. That when people are going through our game development program, right, they don't need to pay. Almost like 99% of the entire fee gets paid after they have gotten a job, right? So our promise to our learners is that we'll provide you the skills that will help you get the right job, right? So this aligns our incentive. This is something internally at Outscal we have been thinking really hard around. Can we move the whole ecosystem to a chain where we say, you don't have to worry about paying anything, but instead you show us, you show us that you're serious about becoming a developer by doing certain things that earn you coins, right? Or earn you a token, right? And the idea is like, are you helpful in the community to other developers, right? Are you completing the introductory project that we have shared with you as part of the selection process itself, right? So as you complete these micro steps, you unlock certain coins. Once you get to say like 5,000 coins, suddenly you stake those 5,000 coins, and those 5,000 coins say means $100 in real life or something, right? I don't know, just an arbitrary number. But now, without having to put money behind your learning, you actually put time behind it earned your reward and showed that you're serious about it. And that way it makes the whole thing easily accessible to anybody in the world.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't matter to me whether you're sitting in Korea, Russia, Africa, wherever, right? Because through this on-chain system, you have showed us that you're trustworthy, you are committed, you're dedicated, like the key things that we care about in our process, right? And that makes us sure that you're worth spending time on, right? Like it's worth to commit the next 10 months of learning journey with you so that you'll be able to get a job, start a career, and transition a career and so forth, right?
Right.
So these financial use cases at the intersection of education, gaming, community, I feel like these are the ones where we'll see some real sort of major
exactly.
innovation.
Like this is something I heard first time from you, so I don't think any probably there would be someone who would be doing, but it's a kind of a huge case that could wherein the blockchain and the DeFi thing could really be leveraged, and it could be helpful for the people or the students who are taking the services from Outscal, so they can also be benefited, like based on the kind of involvement they have. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So, like, what's the future for, like, when you think about, like, like somebody mentioned Ready Player One, which is a very futuristic kind of a movie where you are living in a virtual world. So like when you think about the applications and potential use cases for blockchain, etc., right? Like, what is the most sort of a futuristic dream that the whole ecosystem can get completely shifted up? Like what is the thing that keeps you dreaming that this is the next 10 years the technology?
Okay. Yeah. So like. I'll tell you like what exactly going to happen after 10 years. That may not happen. So that is something I'm also envisioning. So it is all about the data. Okay. So right, for example, like when web 1 came, so we were just having the static websites, like and hyperlinks were there, like in case I don't know, like in case you remember yahoo.com or reddit.com. So they were just having the like hyperlinks. You just click on top of those hyperlinks, and that will take you to another static page. And next came the web 2. Okay, like social media platforms. Then like we have better mail services. Okay, but the problem is what the data that we are creating or the generating is actually be held by the companies who are providing those services, and they are using our data and they're selling. Okay, and based on the data, like whatever data they have, they create they're showing us the advertisements. Okay, so what could have been like ideally what could have been better? Okay, whatever whatever things that whatever money they're earning by using our data, they could have shared with the people who are owning their data. So that may not be happening in the web 2 space, but that can be happening in the web 3 space. So it is actually creating the ownership. Okay, you will be owning your own data. Okay, in case someone is in need of your data, so they have to pay you. Okay, so that is one of the huge cases. That is something that I'm envisioning, that like we will be having the ownership of the content that we are creating. It is going to be owned by us. Okay.
It's really funny because I was literally today morning listening to a podcast on exactly the same topic. I forgot. So there's a company. So the founder is the person who was involved in the early Firefox and Mozilla Foundation. He was the guy who started all of this, and he was the one who I think initially even built the Safari browser, if I'm not mistaken, in Apple. So he's been in the browser space for the last 30 years or so, and they're building a new browser which is competing now with Chrome and doing exactly like the thing that you just mentioned. Obviously, they're still very young. Chrome has, I think, 3 point some billion monthly users or 2 point some billion users, and these guys only have like 50 million active users a month. So they're relatively still small, but they're exactly working on the same sort of vision that you just mentioned, that the companies don't collect the data, the system collects the data, makes better use of that data, and then redistributes the profit back to the users.
Right. Yeah.
I think that's the same thing that I feel can and will happen even within gaming as well, just because games probably are the only form of medium which people invest a lot of time into, right?
Yeah,
More than
exactly.
movies, more than music, etc.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
so if we are spending so much time inside games, there's a lot of treasure trove of data that's getting collected from there. And I feel like, games will also evolve into this, using fundamentally the same kind of technology to capture data anonymously, or pseudo anonymously, whatever the case may be. But then the biggest leverage is that you can redistribute profits back to the users, right? Back to the
Right.
community,
Yeah. Exactly.
without an entity like Facebook eating it up or something, right?
Right. So like it's all about the ownership that you'll be having. Like in the next 10 years, people will be having the ownership of the data that which they would be creating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100% agree. I think Manas had a question regarding what is the sort of the biggest challenges that you have faced trying to convince people in the crypto, sort of this new ideas of crypto and its applications.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I think we discussed this slightly, but maybe if there's anything else that you want to add.
Okay.
As well.
It's very difficult to convince right now. Like in case you are having a huge case, okay, wherein you are planning to bring the web 2 people to web 3, so it's very difficult to convince them, okay, because like like in case you take an example of India, so we don't have any regulatory policies surrounding cryptocurrencies, though the taxation is involved, okay.
Yeah.
But unless and until there isn't any regulatory policies coming up, we won't be able to like it's very difficult to convince them, okay. But like, see, it is not just about the cryptocurrencies. Blockchain has a lot of use cases, okay. So there are platforms like Ethereum and Polygon, okay. You can use those platforms, okay, and you can build products that could be useful for the problems that India is facing right now. So for that, government or any web 2 company, they're ready to use that. But in case you're bringing cryptocurrencies, so they may not be they may not get convinced, or they are not ready yet, unless and until any regulatory policies comes up. But yeah, like in case you have some idea on top of the public blockchains, so they would be welcoming, provided like you should be having some convincing way to tell them that the kind of problem they have would indeed solve on top of the public blockchains that we have right now.
Yep. No, I think 100% agree. It's very hard to convince existing organizations to switch from Web 2 to Web 3.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, what we are seeing is that when we talk to organizations that are natively Web 3, right? They are all gung-ho about just Web 3 only, right?
Okay, so I would like to add one more thing. For example, like in case you take an example of Singapore, okay, so like they have monetary authority of Singapore. So there are a lot of money movements happening, okay, in case like, and money is also parked somewhere for some time, okay. So what they are doing, so rather than having the money parked in a specific account or a specific escrow account, so they would be putting that money in compound, okay. So that is how they are going to generate the value out of the parked money they have, okay. So that is the kind of pilot project they are doing. So same way, like in case any regulatory policy that would come up in India, so we would also be looking at that kind of use cases. Yeah.
Got it. Perfect. No, I think this is really interesting, and I think between the kind of solutions that you guys are building as well, it's really I see a strong sort of overlap between like the gaming world using similar kind of tools and frameworks, be it lending, be it staking. A lot of these apply to the gaming ecosystem, and right now we have seen a boom of NFTs and whatnot shit come into the gaming window. But then I feel like we are just at the tip of the iceberg. There are new kind of approaches, like today I play Legend of Zelda and I've unlocked the super awesome legendary sword. Now I can take that sword and convert it on chain to some other asset and now unlock something else. So if I'm not playing this game, I'm taking that asset out and then converting it into something on another game, which I can now benefit from, and then maybe turn it back again or something, right?
Yeah.
Or even like, there are use cases I'm seeing companies come up with where you have played a game, you have made the character super powerful, and now for the next 3 months, 6 months, you're not playing that game, right? So now you can lend that character to somebody else to play in their game. and now you are earning passive money
exactly.
from that character just because it's all tokens, right?
Yeah.
It's all exchange of token through what we see the value getting exchanged, right? So
Right.
there are a lot of these kind of new startups that we are seeing that are trying to experiment around these, and I feel like
I
we're
think
just getting started.
in the gaming space, I mean, there are a lot of unexplored use cases. Like this is one thing that you told, like people can like whatever, the kind of things they're earning from one gaming platform, they can take that to another gaming platform, and they can stake that earning. So that, for example, the sword thing that you told, so that is also an excellent use case. Like a lot of unexplored things.
Absolutely, yeah. I think Mizul has an interesting question regarding the recent tax thing. What do you think the actual impact that has on, like, the startups that are working in the crypto/Web3 space? How do you, like, what's your general hot take around the whole tax situation?
Okay. So, like, frankly speaking, that's not at all good. Okay, but good thing is that, like, at least government has brought in something as far as the crypto is involved. But the taxation is it's the highest that the people of India would be paying. Okay, and like the kind of volatility that we have in crypto space, the way the price movements are happening, and the capital gains that you would be having, and paying 30% out of whatever that you have gained is huge. So I think I don't know, like, what exactly this the kind of RBI and government of India is having the discussions about, but like this is something like not being accepted by many people or the companies who are already into crypto specific trading use cases. And but I still hope that irrespective of that taxes and the kind of taxes that government of India has imposed, people will continue to build platforms, applications, which would be solving the problems that we have right now, which Web 2 is not solving. Web 2 will not be able to solve that kind of problem. So like I'm taking it as a positive sign from the government that they actually think of crypto to be useful for them. At least they're earning 30% cut.
No, I think I 1000% agree with you on this one. That even though people's gut reaction is, oh shit, there's a 30% tax on crypto, what the hell, right? Like government is seriously trying to kill it. The way I look at it is that if you look at a long enough picture, right, like you look at a multi-decade picture, right, all you're saying is, hey, government is legalizing it, right? Yes, tax right now is high, but then in next 2-3 years it might go down. In the next 5 years it might even come down further, who knows, right? So that actual number will keep fluctuating, and the government will keep changing its mind around it as well. But the way I see it is, two things are for sure. One, the government is saying that now this is legal, right? It's not illegal or anything, right? The way you see it in China, where China has completely killed the entire ecosystem, right? It's not that extreme, right? The other thing is, like you said, right? People will continue to build, right? Companies will continue to come up, startups will continue to come up that are building real life solutions that are actually solving problems in a way, right? So I remember, I think 2-3 years back, government was doing some kind of a experimentation where they were putting all land ownership records on blockchain.
Right.
Wait, did I drop out? Can you guys hear me? I think my video froze out. Yep. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay. I think my internet is fluctuating a little bit. So, like, like the government is putting land ownership records on a blockchain, which means now anybody can publicly go and verify who owns a particular piece of land, right? So earlier you used to go to government offices and wait for hours to get some paperwork done and bullshit, right? So there are real use cases where beyond just the financial angle, the blockchain technology itself is fundamentally reimagining existing solutions from principle thinking, right?
Right.
So I think from that perspective, I feel that once you do that bottom up first principles thinking, that you come up with sort of new innovative solutions to existing problems that weren't, like you said, right? Solutions weren't even possible before in the Web2 ecosystem, no matter what you do, right? So I think those are the kind of things that we need. And entrepreneurs are crazy, right? Like they'll continue to build no matter what, 30%, 60%, whatever.
That doesn't matter.
Like those things will keep changing. People will continue to build. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There are problems. There are infinite number of problems to solve in the world. People will continue to solve those problems, right? By hook or by crook.
Actually, like I'm happy that something has come out from the government, even if it is from the taxation perspective. But like, okay, that may not be good for the people who are trading on a daily basis. But yeah, but still, something is better than nothing that from the government as far as the cryptocurrency is concerned. Yeah.
Okay. Last one question I'll take, Abhishek, something interesting. I did not think about this. So like, have you seen any kind of use case between blockchain and privacy? Sorry, piracy, not privacy, piracy control, anything in that domain? Because this is something very relevant to like the entertainment industry broadly. Like, have you seen anything interesting? Abhishek is mentioning regarding something Disney related, but I have no idea or background context on this one. So anything that you are aware
of? So piracy, like that is all about having the control or having the ownership of your content, right? So yeah, in case like you have a specific content created, and that is something you have like put in the blockchain, for example, through a NFT. Okay, you have created a content and you have tokenized that to an NFT. So NFT something would probably be helpful in like in not exactly removing the piracy, but to some extent mitigate the piracy. Okay, so yeah, blockchain would be solving that case. Like in case any piracy thing happens, so it get into a kind of dispute that takes a lot of time. So in that case, the blockchain may reduce the time to resolve the disputes. So that is what that is one thing that I believe would be helpful as far as the piracy specific problems are concerned.
Right. Yeah. I think it's just basically saying that, okay, quickly verify the ownership so that the privacy dispute can be handled faster. But I don't think it's 100% solution to privacy, unless, like, I think Abhishek shared some LinkedIn link.
Was it piracy or privacy?
Piracy.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. So like people duplicating content easily and so on and so forth, right? I don't think, I'm not sure, but yeah, I'll read through the LinkedIn. So thanks, Abhishek, for sharing that as well. But yeah, awesome. So I think this was a very interesting chat, very different from typically how we go deep into gaming. This was more going deep into the blockchain and their sort of real life use cases and those kind of things. So again, thanks for joining and spending time with us.
Yeah, glad to be here. Yeah,
folks learned something as well. So and yeah, would definitely love to host you again in some time in the future as well. So
no problem. Yeah.
All right, perfect. Thanks, Lingraj. Take care.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, everyone. It was good to have you guys as well. And then, if there's any feedback that you guys have for me as well, just feel free to share with me in Discord. And, any more questions, just pipe it to me. I'll try to compile them and share it with Lingraj and offline as well.
Okay.
Awesome. All right. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So before we end the call, thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for joining. And we have good number of events coming up in the future as well. All you have to do is, simply hop into the Discord server. Top left, you'll see that the event section where you can subscribe to the upcoming events. We have an event schedule in Web3 in games for next week. And then in the month of March, we have more events and like building a game studio in Asia and monetizing a game studio, because we have someone coming in who has like more than 2 decades of experience in the gaming industry. So just hop onto the server and subscribe for the upcoming events. And also we have streaming Sundays happening on every Sunday. So subscribe for that as well, because Malhar and Shubham will be playing It Takes Two and decoding the game mechanics behind that. So yeah, thank you so much for joining again. See you on Sunday. Bye-bye.